Well, did you see this? A recent study suggested your short passwords, Raegan, are easy game for hackers.
Thanks for
okay?
calling me
No
out
more
on that.
using your last name. Passwords that are 18 characters or more are harder to crack. But if you want to take your security up another notch, listen to this. Consider a password manager.
Okay, so here to talk more about this password managing is tech consultant and professor advanced media in residence at Syracuse University, Shelly Palmer. Good morning, Shelly. Glad to have you with us. I know we were talking about this password manager. So how do you go about getting a manager?
Well, first of all, what Dan just said is very, very important. You have an 8-character or less password that's numbers or letters, you're talking 8-10 minutes, under an hour to crack brute force. You get that up to 18 characters, and you mix it up with caps, lowercase, special symbols, and numbers, it'll take 438 trillion years to crack.
Shelly, real quick, you said brute force. What do you mean by that?
So a computer just does 1-0-0-0-0-0-0, then 2-0-0-1-2. That just tries everything. Trying every combination is called brute force. And so those doesn't require anything smart. It just tries every combination. And there's so few letters and numbers, and computers are so fast, they just brute force can crack your password. So the longer it is, the better off you are. So if you don't want to do what I'm about to tell you, just make your passwords as long as it can possibly be and mix it up with caps and lowercase. And the fastest way to do that is to pick a phrase like, I don't think we're in Kansas anymore. Take the first letter, mix them up, caps and lowercase, add a couple numbers and a couple symbols after it. That password will, as the longer it is, the happier you're going to be.
But how are you
going to be.
So the other issue is, like, you know, remembering all these passwords for the thousands of things you log into. You're saying that there's like a manager, an app, a manager to kind of, how do you go about getting one of those?
So there are services like LastPass or 1Password or Bitwarden is another one. Dashlane is another one. These are either free or just a few dollars a month if you want to add features. You can also use the free internal apps in anything Apple and Google.
Yes, we were talking about that because I said there are times where I put my password into the computer and it'll say, hey, do you want me to save it? I'm like, I don't know if that's safe, is it?
It is so safe, but it's better if you let the computer pick the password for you. So both Apple and Google devices, Google Password or Google Chrome and all Apple devices will actually create a password for you that's kind of gobbledygook and store it. And that's the password you want.
You see that when it pops up.
Yeah, they'll store it.
I'm always worried that if I do that when it pops up, I'll forget it when I go to like on a desktop. And that's why I guess you need that. You download one of those managers. Are those passwords?
No, it will manage itself if Apple generates it or if Google generates it.
Are those password managers? Have there ever been any reports of them being hacked? Because all of a sudden, you know, you don't want it, then you're really exposed.
Every once in a while, but it happens so infrequently. You're better off using a password manager, letting it. You will have one master password, which you should make very long, and then that will create all the other passwords inside the password manager. It is the safest way, Dan, literally, using either Apple's, Google's, or a paid service or a free service like 1Password or LastPass.
Which one would you recommend? Which one?
What I recommend is using Google or using Apple. The only problem using those is that they are going to restrict all the devices you have to just the Google or the Apple devices. But if you want to be able to use literally 1Password on everything, your Android, your Apple, your computer, your everywhere, use like 1Password or LastPass. Either of those are good. They have free versions and they have paid versions. Bitwarden and Dashlane are okay too. Use one. That's the most important part. The commercial services are all good and you should be using one.
So it's 1Password or LastPass?
The number one and password, and then LastPass, LASTPASS. I'll put them on ShellyPalmer.com, and I'll throw a tweet out there for people.
Oh, if you can, yeah, because I need to do this, because clearly I am not, as to why I have so many questions.
It's a good topic because, you know, it affects everyone, and it affects everyone 10, 20 times a day.
And computers have gotten really powerful, so you're much more vulnerable. Long, strong passwords or a password manager. I want you and Raegan to say you're going to do it. You going to do it?
I'm going to do it.
Just get that on the tweet so I know what to download, so I know where to go, because sometimes I can be technologically in advance.
Shelly Palmer, thank you so very much. Joining us every Tuesday. Appreciate it.
All right. Shelly's awesome.
No more last name for your password.
Well, yeah, looking at you, kid.
Putting your pet's name in there.
The 1, 2, 3 star exclamation point. Okay.
Oh.